we pay homage to the Buddha and recite the Namo Tassa 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. So today we have to start Patana conditions. As we all have already learned Paticca the dependent originations. Now we also have to study cause and effect relationship in Patana. It will be different. In the case of dependent originations, we may have only cause and effect relationship. In the case of Patana, it will be different. Cause, the effect, and the conditions. So we have 3 things. So we have to start off with 24 bhattaya, the 24 conditions. The first one is root conditions, hetu bhattaya. So when we talk about here, greed, hatred, delusions, no greed, no hatred, no delusions, these are called the root. So they can be the cause to produce karma produce mortalities, also mind produce mortalities. Also, they can be the cause of the arising of nama, all types of namas. That means we have like a rooted nama, we can say, right? They are consciousness that associated with the rooted, one of these is rooted, or they may be the cause of mental fetters that arise together with this greed, this rooted. Then second one is aramana, bhattaya, the object conditions. So aramana bhattaya, the object is also whenever there's the mind or the mental fetters, without objects they cannot arise. That's why they will take some object. Then at the time, object can be the conditions. So in the case of objects, it also can be namarubats, also can be nirvanas, also can be concept. Anything can be the object. Then 3, adipati, predominance condition. So here in the case of predominant conditions, then they are leader, they are chief in that group. So maybe they may respectfully take something as an object. At the time we can say aramana adipati. Then they may arise together with other mental fetters that they may respect. Then they may be predominant. In this case, we can also say predominant conditions. Another one is proximity conditions, anandara bhattaya. Actually, when we talk about anandara bhattaya, this one is in the mental process. Preceding mind and succeeding mind. We can also say preceding mind moment and succeeding mind moment. Without any interruptions, they will arise. This is called anandara bhattaya. Then we also have the 5 is the 5th one is the continuity conditions, samanandara bhattaya. In reality, these 2 conditions are very similar. Very similar means both of them may take the same things. For example, preceding mind moment and succeeding mind moment cause of a relationship. But when we give simile, there is another simile mentioned. For example, when the king passed away, the throne prince will take over the duties of the king, or they will gain the throne. In this case, we can say proximity conditions, anandara bhattaya. Samanandara bhattaya, when the king is going very long journey, setting out long journey, then the throne prince will take over the duties. But anyway, the throne prince take over the duties of the king. So the main thing is, according to the listener's conditions, and Buddha give two different instructions, Anandara Pachayo and Samanandara Pachayo. Then 6. Connection conditions, Sahajata Pachayo. In the case of Sahajata, they will arise together, they will support each other. Or maybe they will arise together, and one of them will support other. In this case, we can say connection conditions. It can be Nama Rubast, Nama to Nama, Rupa to Rupa also possible, Nama to Nama Rupa also possible. It depends on the connection we have. 7. Neutrality connection. So actually, these connection conditions and mutuality conditions are a little bit similar, or we can also say different. But they will arise together, they will support each other. Here we have to give one example. We have to say only one thing, different. That means all the Sahajata can be Anyamanya. But not all the Anyamanya can be Sahajata. These are slightly different. In the case of Sahajata, connection conditions, for example, 4 elements to direct materialities. They can be connection conditions. But in the case of neutrality conditions, Anyamanya Pachayo, only 4 elements, they will support each other. Okay, if we say another way, for example, we may visit our friends, then he may visit us, come and go. In this kind of case, neutrality. In the case of connections, whether our friend come to us or not, we will visit him. In this case, connection conditions. You can understand like that. Then 8, support condition, Nisaya Pachayo. In the case of Nisaya, dependence. For example, depending on the seeds, right? There will be plants. It grow bigger and bigger, it becomes tree. This is called supporting. Then not only that, we can also have another simile. Decisive supporting conditions, Upanisya Pachayo. Okay, here we have 2 different things, supported conditions and decisive supported condition, 2 different things. So the simile will be a little bit different. In the case of supported conditions, in this case, like the root, it will arise together with the trees. At the same time, also support. In this case, we can say support conditions. The decisive support conditions is like a seed, will support the sprout. Then it will support plant, or it will be supporting cause of a tree. This is called support, the decisive support conditions. So in this case, we may have many different conditions of supporting conditions and decisive supporting conditions. Actually, decisive support conditions is very wide among the Bhatana relationship. But anyway, when we have these conditions, it will be, we can also say powerful dependent, especially Upanishad Pachayo also translate as a powerful dependent. Then it will become very powerful to support. Later, we have to make groove and we have to introduce all the things again. Okay, now we have to move 10. Pre-nascent conditions, Bodhicitta Pachayo. In the case of bodhicitta, it will arise earlier than their supporting, especially mentalities, that it will support. This is called pre-nascent conditions. So contrary to that, we also have post-nascent conditions, it will arise later. The later one supports previous one. For example, now in our community, we have many different people. We also have different aims and ambitions. So we have many future plans. Our future plans make our decisions stronger in the present moment. Similarly, our ambitions make our spiritual power stronger. This is called post-nascent conditions, not yet arisen. Or maybe it arises later, it supports previous one. Then 12, repetition condition, asivana bhajayo. In the case of asivana bhajayo, it must be only embulsion. Let me embulsion my moment will arise many times. The breathing embulsions and sustained embulsions, they can be supporting causes. So when we study Bhajanitisa, it will mention Bodhima Kusala Dhamma, Pachimana Kusalana Dhammana, Asivana Bhajana Bhajayo. Similarly, Bodhima Akusala Dhamma, Pachimana Akusalana Dhammana, Asivana Bhajana Bhajayo. Also mention Bodhima Kiriya Vyagata Dhamma, Pachimana Kiriya Vyagatana Dhammana, Asivana Bhajana Bhajayo. We have this kind of statements. So that's called repetition conditions. Repetition conditions, asivana bhajayo. Then here we have karma conditions. Actually, we have many different types of karma. For example, we may arise together. The sum of the Vajrayana is also called karma. It will arise together with associated mental factors and also consciousness. But it also supporting cause. It also supports. This is called sajata karma. Then we also have nanakritika karma, the past causes, present effect, or the past karma can produce a result in the present moment. This is called karma conditions. Then 14, we have result conditions, vipaka bhajayo. This one will be totally different from all previous conditions. So results, we can also say another way, it's very stable. So all the past karma will produce results. Like kusala or akusala, they are active. In the case of result conditions, they are stable. Not that much active, we can say, right? They are just arising normally. But some of them are not that easy to understand also. But anyway, there will be result conditions. Then again, 15, nutriment conditions, ahara bhajayo. In the case of ahara, we have two different types. Mental nutriment, we also have bodily or maybe material nutriment. But anyway, whatever nutriment, materiality or mentality, and they can be the conditions. They will produce associated materialities or mentalities. Well, in the case of nutriments, we have to understand many different things. For example, nutriment also can support coexistent materialities in the same class. In this case, we can also say supporting corpse. It also can produce new clavas. In this case, it can be producing corpse, especially materiality, the nutritive essence. It also can be producing corpse. It also can be supporting corpse. Then we can say supporting conditions or producing conditions, two different things. Then 16, faculty condition. In the case of faculty, actually we have already learned many things about faculties. We have 22 faculties. So we also have mentality, we also have materialities. For example, we also have eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body translucency. All these things are called faculty. Now we also have life faculty. They also called faculty, right? Also we have like a female sub-maturity, male sub-maturities, they also called faculties. Among the mentality also, we have many faculties. For example, when we talk about five controlling faculties, saddha, confidence, viriya, effort, sati, mindfulness, samadhi, consciousness, wisdom, panya. All these are also called indriya, faculties. So if we summarize, we have two different types of faculties. The first one is mentalities, second one is materialities. So mentality to mentalities also can support, materiality to materiality also can support. So in the case of faculty conditions, it's only supporting conditions, not producing conditions. Then we have jhana conditions, jhana pattaya. So as we have already learned jhana factors, the jhana factors can be the cause, the associated mentalities, and also mind-spiritual materialities. It can be the effect. The jhana is the conditions. Jhana pattaya is the condition. 80. Third condition, Mecca pattaya. As we have already known the Mecca path, that means the path we are going to throw them, right? This is called path condition. As we have already known Noble Eightfold Paths, but here in the case of path conditions, it also can be unwholesome path because of the ignoble path, right? If we say noble path because of the ignoble path. For example, right view. Then we also have wrong view. So only right thoughts. We also have wrong thoughts and so forth. So all the right or wrong, or we can say noble paths or ignoble paths, all of them can be considered as a path condition. They can also be the cause of arising of associated mental factors or mentalities, and also some rupas. Now we have to move to the next one, 19. The 19. Association condition, Samyutta pattaya. When we talk about Samyutta association, it can be only mentality. It cannot be materiality. So what does it mean, Samyutta? In the case of Nama, it's very clear. They will arise together at the same time. Also, they will perish together at the same time. Then they will take the same object. They will arise depending on the same dates. So these four, if we have these four conditions, we say Samyutta pattaya. So later we have to elaborate a little bit more. as we have already learned some mentalities in the past. So mentality will arise together, and then they will perish together. They will take the same objects. Also, they will arise depending on the same dates. It depends on the mind moment. So these are called association condition. Sambuddha Pacaya. 20. Association condition. Vibhuta Pacaya. So when we talk about Vibhuta Pacaya, it will be contrary to Sambuddha Pacaya. They will not arise at the same time. They will not perish at the same time. Then they will not take the same objects. They will not arise depending on the same dates. This is Vibhuta. In the case of Sambuddha, it's Nama to Nama. All the Nama arise together in the same mind moment, perish together in the same mind moment. Also, they will take the same objects, arising depending on the same base. In the case of Vibhuta, it must be Nama to Rupa. Vibhuta. So sometimes Nama and Rupa will arise together, but they cannot perish together. Rupa cannot take anything as objects, but Nama can take objects. As we have already known, 4 elements, they will arise depending on each other. Then it will be different base according to the conditions. Okay, so we can also say Vibhuta Pacaya and Sambuddha Pacaya are contradictory and the contrary opposites, you can say, right? Then 21. Present condition, Achi Pacaya. So when we are present, we can support our friends. When we are in the same boat, we can help each other. Similarly, when all the namas arise together, in the present conditions, in the present, they can support each other. 22. Absent condition. We can also say, Nati Pacaya, right? Absent condition, Nati Pacaya. Okay, we have to reveal Anandara Pacaya and Samananda Pacaya. In the case of Anandara Pacaya, when preceding mind passes away, succeeding mind will arise. At the time, we can say absent condition, Nati Pacaya. If preceding mind moment is there, now you perish, succeeding one cannot arise. Then we also have another simile. For example, now I'm sitting on the chair. As long as I don't leave the chair, nobody can sit on the chair. But when I leave, somebody can sit on my chair. This is called absent conditions. When I leave, I'm absent conditions. Then they can take place. Then 23. Disappearance condition. Vikata Pacaya. So Vikata Pacaya also similar to absent conditions. After apparition, we can support succeeding one. This is called disappearance conditions. Then when we study in Pajanidisa, you can also find, in the case of absent condition, Nati Pacaya, we will mention Samanandara Nirodha. In the case of disappearance conditions, he will mention Nandara Vikada, Samanandara Vikada. We also mention like that, right? So the main thing is, these two are very similar. After disappearing, they will support succeeding one. So in the absence, it will support succeeding one. That's why absent condition, disappearance condition will arise together. Mostly we can find these two types in Anandara type. Anandara Pachayo, Samananda Pachayo, Nati Pachayo, Vikata Pachayo, they will arise together. Wherever there is Anandara, there must be Nati and Vikata. Wherever there is a Samanandara, there must be Nati Vikata. They will rise together. Then on the last one, 24th. Non-disappearance condition, Avikata Pachayo. That means before passing away, before perishing state, it can support. So here, present and non-disappearance are really very wide. In many, many conditions, they will arise together. For example, Hetu Pachayo. They will arise together with present conditions, non-disappearing condition. So present means arising, not yet perish. Similarly, 24th, non-disappearance also not yet perishing. Then these two will arise together. So these are brief introduction to 24 Pachayo, 24 conditions. Now we have to introduce other grouping conditions. Actually, we have many different groupings. That's why here I will introduce group by group. The first one is Sahajata group. It's too wide. Then you can also see orderly. Hetu Pachayo, Adhipati Pachayo, Sahajata Pachayo, Anyamanya Pachayo, Nisaya Pachayo, Kama Pachayo, Vipaka Pachayo, Ahara Pachayo, Indriya Pachayo, Jhana Pachayo, Mekha Pachayo, Sambhyuta Pachayo, Vibhuta Pachayo, Ati Pachayo, Avikata Pachayo. These are called Sahajata group. Actually, if we elaborate, it will be a little bit wider than that, because we have like a major and a minor or something like that, right? For example, in the case of Sahajata, Sahajata will arise. Similarly, Nisaya, Ati, Avikata, they will arise anytime. They can arise together with any other conditions. For example, Adhipati, sometimes they rise, sometimes they will not rise. Similarly, Anyamanya, I already talked about Anyamanya before, right? Anyamanya is very similar to Sahajata, but they're also different, right? So when we go, our friend will come. This is Anyamanya. Whether our friend come or not, we will go. This is Sahajata. Similarly, Kama, right? Okay, if we say briefly here, in this group, the cause and effect relationship and conditions can be different according to consciousness, the associated mental factors, Kama brutal materialities, mind brutal materialities. But be careful here, I just list out briefly. So that means in every single mind moment, there will be different types of consciousness and different mental factors. There will be different number of mental factors, you can say. According to all these conditions, it will be different. Not only that, for example, in the case of Hetu, it also can produce Kama brutal materialities, also mind brutal materialities. Similarly, Adhipati, it also can produce. So anyway, briefly, in this case, we can also say Nama do Nama relationship. Sometimes Nama do Rupa relationship also possible. Nama do Nama Rupa relationship also possible. So according to all these conditions, we may have different types of relationship. Okay, now we have to, we also have to introduce a few more things about it. There's the table, the next one. So here I just list out very simple statements. Ma, pa, u, nu, go, jana, jana. Only I just mentioned very simple things, right? Ma, vajana is consciousness. The consciousness will arise together with 11 mental fetters. So altogether there will be 12 nama. They will arise together. So among the 12, one of them is consciousness, 11 is the 𝐺𝐸𝐸𝐶 mental fetters. So they are different aggregates. For example, Manora Vajana is consciousness aggregate. Among the 11 mental fetters, feeling aggregates, perception aggregates, also formation aggregates, 3 aggregates in the mental fetters. So they will support each other. That's why how they also write down. In every single mind moment, there are 4 mental aggregates. For example, there arise 11 mental fetters and 1 consciousness at the moment of divided mind and so on. And just write down. Very simple thing. Similarly, pa. We call parikama. Preparatory or preparation. Actually, pa is consciousness, the wholesome consciousness. Then it will rise together with 33 mental fetters. So parikama is the wholesome consciousness. This is a consciousness aggregate. Among the 33, there will be 3 aggregates. Feeling aggregates, perception aggregates, and information aggregates. Similarly, upachara, nu, anuloma, gomi, kuturabu. In every single mind moment, the same number of 𝐺𝐸𝐸𝐶 mental fetters. Also, jhana also 33, the same number of mental fetters. Okay, if we just categorize all these mind moments, so we already mentioned ma, pa, u, nu, go, jhana, right? These are consciousness aggregates. 11, 33. All the things will be 3 aggregates: feeling aggregates, perception aggregates, and information aggregates. Then in the case of sajada, they can also support each other. For example, 1 aggregate can support 3. 3 also can support 1. Not only that, 2 of them can support another 2. Another 2 also can support previous 2. They can support each other. That is why when we study patana, especially patana mention Chattaro, Kanda, Arupino, Anya Manya, Sajara Patina Patrio. Actually, similar thing can be found in Anya Manya Patio, Nisaya Patio, Hachi Patio, Avikata Patio also. You can find the same things. So these are the mental aggregates we have to understand. Actually, I have another table. Another page. I have mentioned another table. Here, 4 mental aggregates. So here we also say one of the aggregates can be the cause, and the rest of them can be the effect. So here you can see 4, one by one. For example, feeling aggregate is the cause. Perception, formation, consciousness aggregate will be the effect. Similarly, perception can be the cause. Feeling, formation, consciousness aggregate will be the effect. Information can be the cause. Feeling, perception, consciousness can be the effect. Similarly, consciousness can be the cause. All other 3 will be the effect. Not only that, we also have 2 to 2, 3 to 1. So when we study patana detailed methods, then from time to time we can also find, like, for example, eko kando, pinang kandanam, sajada bajina bajo. Also can we find hidu bajina bajo, because hidu bajo also sajada group. Then similarly to your kanda, ekasa kandasa, sajara bachina bachayo. You can also say hidu bachina bachayo. Then dwe kanda, dwinan kanda nam. Hidu bachina bachayo. Also sajara bachina bachayo, and so forth. So they are supporting each other, like the 4 legs of a table. This is about mentalities. Not only that, we also have materialities. The next one. We have materiality, 4 elements. Earth element, water element, fire element, wind element. So one of the elements can be the cause, the rest of them can be the effect. As we have already learned in the mental aggregates. For example, earth element will be the cause, water, fire, wind will be the effect. Water can be the cause, earth, fire, wind will be the effect. Fire can be the cause, earth, water, wind will be the effect. Wind can be the cause, earth, water, fire can be the effect. So 1 to 3, 3 to 1, 2 to 2. That is why when we study in Sakara Bhattiyo or Anyamanya Bhattiyo mention Sakaro Mahabuddha Anyamanyam Sakara Bhattina Bhattiyo. We can also find the same things in other parts of Bhattana condition also. So similarly, we can also say like a 2, Eko Mahabuddha, Tena Mahabuddhana, Teo Mahabuddha, Ekasa Mahabuddhasa. Similarly, Dvaina Mahabuddhana, the Dve Mahabuddha, Dvaina Mahabuddhana. There are many different types of cause and relationship. These are Sajara type. Okay, now we have to move the next group. We call Anandara group. Anandara, Samanandara, Upanisaya, Asevana, Kama, Nati, Vikata. So in this group, the cause and the effects, relationship and conditions are according to the mental process. Precedent mind moment and succeeding mind moment. Okay, for example, when we talk about Anandara and Samanandara, Upanisaya, Nati, Vikata, these 5 are arising together. So that means when we study Anandara Bhattacharya also, we can find very much in detail about cause and relationship. Right? In the case of Upanishad Bhattacharya, there are many other Upanishads, so it will be a little bit more in detail. In the case of Asevana, I have already recited in the explanation of introduction of Patana, Asevanami, repetition. It can be only Javana, right? Similarly, Kama. For example, we have Anandara Kama, path and fruition. After path knowledge, fruition knowledge arises. In this case, also Anandara, it also can be Anandara Kama. Because of path and fruitions, they are cause and relationship. So as we have already known, Nati after passing away, we could also after disappearance, then it can support succeeding mind moment. Then here I also mention the table about cause and relationship. That means when we talk about Anandara Bhattacharya, because when you recite the Pajanidisa, right? Because of language, Chakunyana Dhatu, Tansabodakaja Dhamma, Mano Dhatu Ya, Tansabodaka Dhamma, Nandara Bhattacharya. Yeah, that's why I just mentioned only this part. Chakunyana Dhatu and consciousness. That means in the case of the mental process, when seeing the color, there can be 3 more Bhavangasa before that. Another one is we have 5 abiding consciousness. After that, I consciousness, receiving consciousness, verification consciousness. After that, restoring mind. We'll have impulsions. So all the things can be called as mental process. One after another. When about the mind passing away, unconsciousness will arise. When it passes away, receiving mind will arise. When it's passing away, then investigation will arise. They will arise like this. That's why when we study Kajanidisa, it mentioned Chikuvinyana Dhatu, Dansamuddhakaja Dhamma, Mano Dhatuya, Visawan Sasidawan. Chikuvinyana Dhatu is the cause. Mano Dhatu is the effect. Then at the same time also mentioned, the same condition also mentioned, right? Mano Dhatu, Dansamuddhakaja Dhamma, Mano Vinyana Dhatuya. The Mano Dhatu and Mano Vinyana Dhatu also cause a relationship. This is about Chikuvinyana Dhatu, right? So similarly, Soda Vinyana Dhatu, Mano Dhatu, and Mano Vinyana Dhatu. Similarly, Ghana Vinyana Vinyana means no consciousness, and Mano Dhatu, and Mano Vinyana Dhatu. So if we can understand mental process, we can digest Nandara Bhattacharya. So when you go and read Patana condition again, you can also understand all these things because of the mental process. Then nearly ends of Ananda Bhattacharya, it also mentioned Purima, Kusala, Dhamma, Bhattimana, Kusalana, Dhammana, Ananda Bhattacharya. They also mentioned Purima, Bhyagata, Dhamma, Bhattimana, Bhyagatana, Dhammana, Ananda Bhattacharya. So in reality, here Ravata mind is also Abhyagata. Action is also Abhyagata. Receiving also Abhyagata. Investigation also Abhyagata. All of them are Abhyagata. But they have a different name. That's why here I mentioned Chikuvinyana Dhatu, Mano Dhatu, they have different names. Right? Then we can also understand mental process. How mental process are working. But sometimes you also say, actually Buddha didn't talk about mental process. Of course, when we go and study Patana, we can find mental process. Here we can particularly in this context, Nanda Bhattacharya mentioned mental process. Now we also have another group, Aramana group. This is the third group. So in the case of Aramana group, also Aramana, Adhipati, Upanisaya. They were raised together. Then it will be different also. In this group, the object can be present, past, future, mentality, maturity, time-free, nibbana, and concept. So when we say aramana conditions, then we aramana cause. The cause can be mentality, maturity, nibbana, or concept. But the effects will be only nama, because materiality cannot take anything as object. Only minds and mental factors can take something as object. That's why we have to understand the difference between all these conditions. Anyway, the main thing is, in this group, we have to understand, do different things again. Okay, I have to also make table there. Here, Pratipaka Nimitta is the object. Ariyawatu is the base. Then we have Mapa Unu Go Jhana. already mentioned before, right? This is the jhana mental process. So when we talk about aramana patiyo, the Pratipaka Nimitta is the object of Mapa Unu Gojana. So without Pratipaka Nimitta, then we cannot attain jhana. So I have already reminded many times when we talk about jhana, right? They say, I also can know jhana factors. Vitakka is very powerful, Vichara is very powerful, Vidya is very powerful. When they say like this is not jhana, this is jhana factors. It's not the object of jhana. The object of jhana is Pratipaka Nimitta. So Pratipaka Nimitta is the cause. Mapa Unu Go, every single mind moment can be the effect. Aramana is the condition. So similarly, when like an ahat enter jhana, for example, Mapa Unu Go will be functional. When ordinary person and also noble person enter the jhana attainment, it will be kusala. Pa Unu Go will be kusala, jhana also kusala. So when arahats enter jhana, Pa Unu Go, jhana will be function, kriya. Only it will be different. But anyway, we have to remember what to be the base, aramana, the object. Also, there's a my moment, Ma Pa Unu Go jhana. Because I will use the same mental process in many different parts of today's lessons. Because it's too much to explain. We have to approach many different types of mental process. It will take very long time to understand. Okay, now we have to move the next group, Purijata. In the case of Purijata, Aramana, Upanisaya, Purijata, Indriya, 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐜𝐴𝐷𝐼, 𝐴𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐜. Did you also imagine? Aramana also Purijata, it will arise earlier than the mind moments. Similarly, we also like Upanisaya. Aramana, Upanisaya is also possible, right? Purijata also arise earlier than. Another thing is Indriya. We have many different Indriya, right? For example, with Chakundriya, Satindriya, Ganindriya, that means eyes, ear, nose, tongue, body, all the materiality also can be Indriya. In the case of Purijata, Indriya must be materiality, not mentality. 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐜, because in this relationship, this is the Rupa to Nama relationship. That is why it must be 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐜. They cannot arise together, they cannot perish together, they cannot take the same thing as objects, then they don't have the same base. That's why they are 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐜. So here I also write down, in this group, the 5 door bases that arise together with past bhavanga, mind moments, and the heart base that arises together with recent mind moments is certain the judgment process are the causes. If the base is any of 5 translucency, yeah, I just understand 5 translucency because this is Indriya. You must be very careful. For example, when we have iron translucency, right? Iron translucency will be the base. Iron consciousness will be the consciousness. It will arise depending on iron base. In this case, it also can be Purijata. It also can be Indriya. It also can be Upanisaya, 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐜, 𝐴𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐜, but not Aramana. Right? That means iron consciousness will take color as object. That's why he also mentioned, if the base is any of 5 translucency, the dependent effect will be price fight for consciousness with spaghetti conditions in India. This is I'm stuck in India. That's why I have to pinpoint this part. For other things, actually we have two different. If we summarize another way, we have two bodhicitta, aramana bodhicitta and vatu bodhicitta. Right? So aramana bodhicitta means the object. It will arise earlier than consciousness. Vatu, the base, will arise earlier than the consciousness. That is why they are called aramana bodhicitta, also called vatu bodhicitta. But anyway, they are also Upanisaya, or they are Vibhuda, Ati, or Vikata. In the case of India, it depends on high translucency. High translucency means iron translucency, air translucency, no translucency, and body translucency. Time translucency and body translucency. They are called India. Right? Okay, now we have to go to another one. The Bodhicitta groove. In every single mind moment, there are aramana and vatu. I have already mentioned this one, right? Kala, aramana, then respected vatu. We are pa, ja, sam, wu, javana. So pa means panchara vajana. Then it will arise depending on her base. Then ja, jaku vinyana, unconsciousness. It will arise depending on iron base. Then some, it rises depending on Arayavatu, her base, because Samrichana. And Sambirana, this also arises depending on her base. Vatabana also arises depending on her base. Jana also depending on her base. But they will take all these Paja, Panjaravajana, Jakuvinyana, Samrichana, Sambirana, Vatabana, Jana will take color as an object. The color will arise earlier than all these mind moments. Then they also arise depending on their respective base. They arise together with preceding one. That's why it's called bodhicitta. It will arise earlier. The object will arise earlier than all the mind moments. Aramana bodhicitta. All the bases will arise earlier than all these mind moments. Then this also called vatu bodhicitta. So here, if I say very many things in detail, it will be very heavy topic and very headache for you. That's why I just summarize very simple way. But anyway, this one is actually good enough for today. Then we have to continue. Another one, Bhattacharya group. So Bhattacharya group also, Bhattacharya, Vibhuda, Ati, Avigata. In the case of Bhattacharya, it must be Nama do Rupa. In this group, the succeeding mind moment is the cause of Chatuja materiality that arises together with past life continuum and so on. Yeah, I just mentioned Chatuja Rupas. Actually, we have different conditions and there will be different types of materialities. For example, in the River Lincoln consciousness, it can be only Kamacha Rupas. Like gradually, then there will be, after that, right? We may have Kamacha Broju materialities, Mind Broju materialities, after that, Nutritional Broju materialities. They will arise respectively, one after another. Then whole life, they will arise continuously. That's why he has succeeding mind moments of the cause, and also materiality will be the effect. So in the case of Bhattacharya also, I have already said Bhattacharya is the opposite of bodhicitta. In the case of bodhicitta, Rupa do Nama. But here Nama do Rupa. Different cause and relationship. Okay, now we also see the table again. We have the same table, right? Bhattacharya also the same table. So here, the color, aramana. But here we can say that Bhattacharya means all the for the Pancharavajana, 5 abiding consciousness, then it will support the respective base or Kamacharupas that rise together with preceding one. Similarly, Jaku Vijnana, eye consciousness, it will support the respected Kama Bhuju modalities that rise together with preceding mind moments or earlier than that. Similarly, Sampadicchana, receiving, Sandirana, investigations, Vatavana, determinations, and Javana, this we call impulsions. All the things will support the preceding, the Kamacharupa that arise together with preceding mind moments. So actually, I have already said that one in our previous slides, except in death moments, right? In the death moments, it will be different. In the death mind moments, sure, them in the process. All the succeeding one will take, will arise depending on the 17 mind moments ago. That rise with the mind moments, the Hariyavatu that rise together with 17 mind moments ago. That's why it will be very different. For other things, easier to understand. Because this is the last time Kamacharupa arrives. After that, as soon as there's a death moment, no more Kamacharupas. All Kamacharupas cease. So here I have to give some information. Mortality is 17 times longer than mentalities. I mean, 17 mind moments longer than mentality. That's why succeeding one can support preceding one. Then we also have to move the next groove. The next one is the Nanakanika groove. So Nanakanika grooves also here mentioned Nanakanika Gamma, Upanisaya, Nandara, Samanandara, Nati Vigada. So it depends on the case, right? Then there will be different. Anyway, so Nanakanika can be different moments. It can be past Gamma, or it can be the cause, present residing consciousness can be the effect. So here I was mentioning in this groove, past Gamma is the cause and present residing consciousness and Gamma Bhuju modalities are the effect. In this case, you can say Nanakanika Gamma is very easy. But one more thing here. In the Mega and Pala relationship, Nandara group will be blind. That's why here I also mentioned Gamma, right? We got Nandara Gamma. So in the case of Nandara Gamma, Anandara, Samanandara, also Gamma, also Upanisaya, but it can be also Nati, Vigada. We may have many different conditions here. So in the case of Nanakanika Gamma, we can also find Kusala, and Gamma, Upakana, Kangarata, Rupana. We have this kind of statements in Bhajanidesa. That's why it's called Nanakanika Gamma. So they are mentioned Katataja Rupana, right? Upakana, Katataja Rupana. Upakana is very clear, it is researched aggregate. Katataja Rupani Kamacharupas. Then all the past Gamma can produce Kamacharupas. Then we also have to move another relationship, Rupahara. The Rupahara groove. Ahara, Ati, Avigata, only 3. So in this group, nutritive essence in every particles is the cause for mentality in the same particles or another different particles. So we have different conditions. In one single class, actually there will be 8 types of materialities. Here I also write down all the things on the cycle. Battery, abo, dijo, wire. 4 elements. Earth elements, water elements, fire elements, and 1 element. Not only that, there's a wana, the color, gandha, the smell or the odor, or rasa, the taste or the flavor, or jaminu, the essence. So yeah, in this case, all characters can support coexisting materialities in the same class. At least in one class, these 8 will arise. This is the smallest group of materiality. It can be bigger than that number. There can be 9 types of materiality in one class, 10 types of materiality in one class, similarly 11, 12, 13. It depends on types of materiality. There can be different grouping in the class. In every single class, order, the essence, can maintain coexistent materialities. This is called Rupahara. Also, in the statement, I also mentioned another different class, different particle. So in this case, so the order also can support another class. It also can produce new generations of materiality. That's why in the case of order, we have 2 different causes. The first one is supporting causes. So that means in the same class, they can be supporting causes. In the different class, there also can be supporting cause, there also can be producing cause. There also can produce new generations. That's why in the case of Rupahara, that means ati. You all know ati mean, right? That means not yet perish, not yet passing away. How could also not yet passing away? So before passing away, after arising, it can support, it can produce. That's called Rupahara. So if we understand, if we understand a little bit deeper, then there will be many other types. For example, we also have like a mental nutriment. It can be Sajata type. In the case of mental nutriments, it can support certain mentalities. Also, you can also say rupas, right? Tirya rupas. So anyway, in the case of rupa, ahara, we can say 2 different groups. One is mentalities, another one is materiality. In the case of rupahara, this is materialities. So in mentality, it can only supporting cause. In materiality, it can be supporting cause and producing cause. 2 different conditions. Okay, now we have to move the next one. Rupa Judiniriya. Rupa Judiniriya also here Indriya Ati Avikata. So this also life faculty. Actually, Juda is a life, this we call life faculty. It's a Kama Charupas, produced by Kama. So in the case of ahara, it can be any types of material. It also can be Kama produce, temperature produce, mind produce, nutriment produce. It can be any types of material. In the case of life faculty, it must only Kama produce. It cannot be produced by mind, temperature, and nutriment. So in this group, life faculty is the cause for the materiality in the same class, in the same Kama produced particles. So here I also write down number of materiality in the same class in the circle. As you have already know, 4 elements, battery, earth elements, Abo, water element, Tejo, fire element, Vayo, wind element. Vana, the color, Gandha, the smell, and Rasa, the taste or the flavor, Oja, the nutritive essence, Jivita, life faculty. All these 9 will arise together in the same clubhouse. Not only that, some it can be 10. For example, iron translucency. Including these 9, the additional one is iron translucency. Ear translucency, nose translucency, tongue translucency, body translucency, female cell motilities, male cell motilities, hormone motility, all the things, all types of motility are gamma produced. Among the gamma produced, the 9 of motility is the smallest group. Only 2 types, 9 or 10 in one clubhouse. So now in this case, Jivika life faculties, it will support associating mentalities, associating materialities, coexisting materialities. We can also say it reinforce or it sustain coexisting materialities. That's what we call Jivika, life faculties. It will be different from Oja. Oja can be supporting causes or producing causes. In the case of life faculty, it can be only supporting causes. It cannot be producing cause. It's totally different. This is materialities. When we study mentality, I already talked about there are also mental controlling faculties, such as sadhana, faith or confidence, viriya, the effort, sati, the mindfulness, samadhi, concentration, panya, wisdom. All these are also called controlling faculties. These are mentalities. For example, like we have manindriya, mind also one of the controlling faculties. Among the feelings also we have somana sindri, domana sindriya, the sukhindriya, dukhindriya, and all the feeling also can be considered as mental indriya, mental faculties. In the case of mental faculties, it can be nama to nama or nama to nama rupas for some relationship. In the case of rupa indriya, it can be rupa to rupa because it can support only the same clubhouse. It cannot support different clubhouse. Okay, now we have the last part for today. Pakatupanisaya. Actually, Pakatupanisaya is also a very big group. When we talk about Upanisaya, we have different types of Upanisaya. For example, Aramanupanisaya. It will be similar to Aramana, object condition. Actually, when we review, if you review, right, the previous group, Aramana group also Upanisaya. Then we also have another Upanisaya, continuity, or proximity, conditions. So preceding my moment and succeeding my moment. At the time also there's also Upanisaya. Then now we also said again, Bhagavad-Upanisaya is actually very, very wide. In Bhagavad-Upanisaya, the course can be very wide, such as etymology, concepts including weather, food, dwelling, and a person, etc. So when you study Upanisaya Patriot in Patana conditions, they were mentioned. Okay, recently also one of my disciples asked me about that Bhagavad-Upanisaya, Upanisaya Patriot di Purima Kusala Dhamma, Bachimana Kusalana Dhammana, Upanisaya Pachena Pachayo. Okay, kusala to kusala, cause of a relationship, Upanisaya. Very clear. Also, we have another one. Purima, kusala, dhamma, pasimana, pachimana, akusana, dhammana, 𝐏𝐻𝐿𝐸𝐬𝐽𝐬𝐚𝐠𝐠𝐚. Upanisaya Pachena Pachayo. Why Upanisaya become like this? 𝐏𝐻𝐿𝐸𝐬𝐽𝐬𝐚, for example, Adam Upanisaya, it cannot be. Kusala, akusala, kusala to akusala. Only Pakatuba can be. Similarly, another rupa. Preceding mind is akusala, kusala, succeeding mind is akusala. Is impossible. Because kusala javana rights separately, after that there may be the dharamana or bhavanga or many after that there will be akusala in the process. Many interruptions. That's why in the case of Aramrubanisaya and Anandarubanisaya, we cannot find kusala dhamma, apurima kusala dhamma, bachimana kusala dhammana, Upanisaya Pachena Pachayo cannot apply there. Only Pakatuba. That's why we use the Pali word 𝐾𝐻𝐿𝐸𝐬𝐽𝐬𝐚 Upanisaya Pachena Pachayo. Then for about Purima kusala dhamma, bachimana, abhyagadana dhammanam, Upanisaya Pachena Pachayo is okay. For example, after impulsions, after javana, there is the dharamana. This is also abhyagata. After kusala javana, there can be bhavanga. This is also abhyagata. That's why it's possible. Then similarly, akusala dhamma, akusala dhamma, Upanisaya Pachena Pachayo. Akusala is the cause. Akusala is also the effect. It will refine. It can be Adam also we can also say, right? And then Upanisaya, okay. Upanisaya also okay. Also, Aramran is also okay because we can take kusala karma as an object, right? But in the case of akusala dhamma, kusala dhammasa, again, 𝐾𝐻𝐿𝐸𝐬𝐽𝐬𝐚 Upanisaya Pachena Pachayo. A few days ago, one of my students asked me in my meditation interview, why there's a 𝐾𝐻𝐿𝐸𝐬𝐽𝐬𝐚 in this part, only Upanisaya Pachayo? Right? Then we can say it's only Bhagavad-Upanisaya. That's why it's called 𝐾𝐻𝐿𝐸𝐬𝐽𝐬𝐚. I mean, not all types of Upanisaya can be conditions for this types of kusala to akusala, akusala to kusala. So actually, Bhagavad-Upanisaya is a very wide. This is the widest, we can also say. So for example, preceding mind and succeeding mind, we can say Anandarupanisaya. But it has an entire mind moment. Okay, when we review previous mental process, for example, right? For example, Manora Vachana, Brikama, Upachara, Nulama, Mapa Unu, for example. Manora Vachana to Brikama, it can be another Pachayo. Manora Vachana to Upachara, it cannot be another animal. It can be Upanisaya. So that means if interrupt by one mind moments, two mind moments, or one mental process, or many mental process, because it can be interrupted by many years, many lives. It can be Bhagavad-Upanisaya. Bhagavad-Upanisaya is very, very wide. That's why we have many different forms, right? When we study Upanisaya Pachayo, kusala do akusala, kusala do kusala, kusala do akusala, kusala do abhyagata. Everywhere there can be Upanisaya. Especially Bhagavad-Upanisaya will be there. Again, we can also have akusala do akusala, akusala do kusala, akusala do abhyagata. Again, abhyagata do abhyagata, abhyagata do kusala, abhyagata do akusala. Moreover, at the end also mentioned Udu Bhojanambi, Ugalambi, Senasanambi, Upanisaya Pachena Pachayo mentioned. So that means he also mentioned that weather also supporting cause. When we have good weather, we have good minds, right? Also, we can have good concentration. Similarly, good foods, we can have good mind, good concentration. good residence, good living place. Then we can also improve our concentration. Similarly, person means maybe a friends or teacher or anybody. It can be of the supporting cause. That's why Bhagavan says very, very wise. Okay, so we can say this is the wisest among the Patana conditions. Okay, now at the end, we have to mention the last statement at the end. So the 4 conditions cover all the 24 conditions. We have mentioned the 4 are object conditions, Aramana Bhajya. So we have Aramana Bhajya, right? Aramana TT, 2 different types. Similarly, this is supporting conditions, Upanisaya. So this also can be very wide, also can cover many different types of conditions. Then again, karma conditions, karma bhajya. Actually, I will talk about karma bhajya, right? Also can be anandara karma, sadhara karma, nandara karma, 3 different types of karma bhajya. Similarly, present condition, ati bhajya. As you know, ati bhajya, it can be, okay, except in anandara groove. You know, anandara groove. Almost all other conditions were associated with ati bhajya. They cover all types. For example, aramana also can be ati bhajya. This supportive conditions can be maybe sometimes it can be different, right? The karma condition also sometimes it can be different because past karma to present, right? So it also can be sajara karma. Sajara karma can be present condition, present associated mental factors to associated mentalities. So these 4 will cover all 24 conditions if we summarize only these 4. Okay, so today I just summarize all the Patana conditions. I think it's not that easy for you to understand all the things at once. After studying many times, I think you can digest a little bit. In the very beginning, I plan to draw many of table, and also I plan to explain many different things in detail. It will be very confusion for learners, right? That's why I just summarize simply. But in Visuddhimagga, it also mentions Patana conditions between Ojapajja Sankhara and so forth. Okay, but anyway, when we talk about cause apprehending knowledge, or the knowledge of apprehending the causes, then we have to understand cause and effect relationship. So here we have 2 options. The first one is the dependent originations. The second one is Patana conditions. It will be totally different. So we also have to understand many different types of pattern, the dependent originations. But here we just talk about very simple way, right? The Ojapajja Sankhara, Sankhara Pajja Vijnana, as mentioned in Visuddhimagga. Actually, it will be very many things in detail if we approach. That means in every single mind moment, we have to find cause and effect relationship. In the case of Patana, it will be very much in detail. In every single mind moment, right? If there's a associated mentalities and materialities, it can be such at a time. This is one associated one, it can be another type. That's the object. That's the base. Paramana type, Purichara type, Pachara type. In every single materialities, there is material kalapas, there is a nutriment, Rubahara. Then in every Kamacha kalapas, there is a life faculty, it can be Rupa Junindriya. So that is why in every single mind moment, in every single grouping materialities, we can discern cause of a relationship. That's why it will be very wide and very much in detail. Okay, so today I will make conclusions today. As long as we can know cause of a relationship, then we may have stronger karma ownership knowledge. So if we know all the past causes that produce this very life, we may believe in karma strongly. deeply. So when we have karma ownership knowledge, as you may have already know this kind of things we call Chula Sotapanna, small Sotapanna. It's come from discernment. Of course, small Sotapanna can retrace anytime because is it not real Sotapanna yet? Right? If we don't practice very long time, then we will get lost everything. Anyway, then if we have karma ownership knowledge, we become stronger Buddhists. That's why to know cause and effect relationship is really very important to discern different originations and patterna relationship. It will be very helpful to improve our meditations, also to have right view, especially karma ownership, right? So may you all be able to practice as Buddha recommended, and may you all be able to realize the final cessation and not suffering.
First question, what are the requirements that a meditator can practice 24 conditions practically? Second question, by practicing the 24 conditions, will it help in attaining Nibbana? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
What are the requirements that meditator can practice? Okay, so one more thing. So basically, we must understand nama rupas. We must already practice until we can break down the components of mentalities and mentalities. Right? We have many different types of components, right? We have to break down all types of components, designing mentalities and mentalities. After that, we can practice different originations or patterna conditions critically. This is the requirement. Now, for about 24 conditions, we have also mentioned, right, where it have attained Nibbana. So, okay, one more thing. When we talk about Paccaya Parikaha Jnana, the knowledge of cause apprehension, then patterna also helpful. We may have stronger, right? We have stronger view of cause effect relationship. Okay? Another name?
Dear Sayadaw, according to the summary of the Abhidhamma Sangaha, it mentioned that Bhavanga in the Manasikara Cetasika in the Bhavanga mind continuously make the Bhavanga mind shake. Okay, the Manasikara Cetasika in the Bhavanga continuously make the bhavanga shaken, and continuously divert the mind or advert the mind to the objects that is arise due to condition.
Okay.
So his question is, in the blood in the heart, there is bhavanga mind. How he knows the objects of the 5 doors?
Actually, there's some misunderstanding maybe, right? When we talk about shaken bhavanga, this is bhavanga chalana. This is something unstable. Okay, I have given one example about it. For example, there are 2 faces of a big drum. And another face, there's a small fly is resting. Then a man will beat another face. It makes very big noise, then the fly will run away, right? So similarly, bhavanga will arise in the heart base, but kala will impinge on the iron translucency. That's why there's a trembling. That means bhavanga cannot take previous objects, also cannot take new objects. That's why we can say this is a bhavanga chalana, right? And we have already mentioned that one. So how can we know this is the Citta Niyama? We're gonna say how it can know, right? The other one?
Yes, Sayadaw. How to stop being shy and scared of talking to people? How to improve self-confidence and how to stop overthinking? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Big question. Okay. For example, like a shine, right? So that means it depends on many different conditions. We have different level of shine, right? Sometimes, because as you also mentioned, right, overthinking also one of the causes, right? Okay, shine means lack of confidence also, you can say, right? That's why the three questions have relationship. Actually, if you can improve your self-confidence, then sure, you may not be shy, right? You may not scared of people. You're scared of talking to the people. Okay, for about talking, right? You can also take many lessons about public speaking, public talk, right? Then you can also learn how to gain self-confidence in public speaking. Actually, even in Buddha's teaching, we also have many different statements, right? For example, like we have like Atenu, Dhammanu, Matenu, and so forth. There are many other conditions. For example, okay, I will just give a few introductions. First, you must know what to talk to people. You also have to choose the listener, right? Another thing is you must know how to ask questions also. Then if you have more relationship with people, more conversation with people, then you can also have self-confidence. The main thing is you must learn how to ask questions and what to ask, right? This is also important. Especially right person and right questions. This is also important, right? So if you have that kind of confidence, you can also talk with people. So you have to listen more first. What about overthinking? This one is also a little bit messy, right? Sometimes before something happens, we think too much. Also, we have to worry unnecessarily. Okay, in this kind of case, overthinking, we can say only very simple thing, right? Be present. Don't go very far. Don't think about very long future. Sometimes past memory also one of the difficulty. In the past, I have experience like this, but now if the same thing happen, what should I do, for example, right? Many things. So in the case of overthinking, I should recommend be present. Then you can overcome this problem, right? The next one.
Dear Xiaodong, may I ask, to practice this 24 Pachaya practically, is it only the Buddha's ability only for a Savaka disciple? Can they really clearly see all these Pachaya conditions? And to practice 24 Pachaya practically, what is the object? What is the objective? Means what is the purpose of practicing 24 Pachaya?
Okay, I have already answered the question, right? Okay, so actually disciples can practice 24 conditions. That's why Buddha explain all the 24 conditions. Whenever Buddha also maintain, right? Whenever Buddha disciples also can practice. That's why we can say the disciples also can practice 24 conditions. So I have already explained before, if we can design 24 conditions, then we can understand cause-effect relationship deeper. Then our knowledge of cause apprehension will be stronger. Okay? Next one.
Sorry. Yes, Xiaodong. If a monastery abbot keeps money and uses this money for building or maintaining the monastery, can that place become a temporary residence for other bhikkhus? If other bhikkhus stay there temporarily, will they also break the Vinaya rules? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, good question, right? So actually, if the abbots accept money, although that means there are two different conditions, right? So in the question mentioned, abbot also keep money, use money for building. So he will use money, he will accept money, he will keep money, he will use that money for building, right? Also maintain the monastery. So in this case, this monastery, this kuti, the building is Nisagya. Then if another people go there, is Dukata. There's a breaking place up, right? So another one, can that place become temporary residence for another people? Okay, it depends. Okay, for example, now we have some conditions, even in Myanmar, we have that kind of conditions. In some monastery, they allow lay devotee to build kuti. Right? That means it belongs to lay person. If it belongs to lay person, it's necessarily free. In this kind of kuti, it will be fun. Then all the people live there is no offense. Right? So, okay. That means although we live temporarily, it is a dukkata, according to Vinaya. Okay? And this one?
Yes, Yadaw. In Myanmar, many laypersons chant the Patana daily. What are the benefits of chanting Patana daily? Some say that we can avoid evil spirit by chanting 24 conditions many times. Is this true? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, so actually there are many different purposes of chanting Patana, right? So even the bhikkhu, actually, we have different purposes of chanting Patana. Some recently we also have listened some Dhamma talk given by a very famous Myanmar Sierra. He talked about Krishna in the body, or like a Deva will visit him or something like that. That kind of things also happen. He himself also experienced something like that. Anyway, we can say by chanting, it would be beneficial for that kind of bhikkhu, right? Maybe his knowledge or his chanting. In his case, he also mentioned how to chant properly. That means chant steadily, regularly, and also there are some systematic chanting way. He also explained. Anyway, it will be protection for them. It also can be like some friendship with the Deva. We can also say like that. So here in your question also mentioned, some say that we can avoid evil separate by chanting 24 conditions many times. Is it true? Okay. So it depends on how we chant. Right? Sometimes when we finish very quickly, we chant very quickly, right? We don't understand the meaning. It cannot be that much effective. So there's a systematic chanting. If we follow all this system, then it will be effective. Even Parita, again, for your information, even Parita. If we expect gain from the listeners, the Parita is not effective. Also, if we don't understand the Pali, or grammatically is incorrect, then that Parita cannot be effective. Right? Similarly, in the case of Patana also, it depends on how they chant. There will be different effects. Okay?
Okay. Yes, Yadaw. Must one develop 14 ways successfully before discerning 24 conditions? How to practice vipassana on 24 conditions? Is it just discern any viti or kalapa, like how Sayadaw grouped the conditions? While discerning each viti or kalapa, how many conditions arises together? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
It will be very wise answer, right? And I avoid many of questions like this. Anyway, now I have the answer, right? Okay, must one develop 14 ways? Actually, if we can practice 14 ways, it will be easier for us to discern even originations or 24 conditions. It will be helpful. Okay, so without practicing 14 ways also is possible to discern 24 conditions. It depends on personality. Okay, what about vipassana? As we have already know, cause also impermanent, effort also impermanent, right? When we talk about Samudaya Dhammanubhasi or Vaya Dhammanubhasi, that we have already mentioned, the cause is also anicca, effort also anicca, something like that. So in the case, okay, I actually say very simple thing. Okay, eye consciousness, for example, eye consciousness of mind moment. And eye consciousness of mind moment. So we have to check how many conditions there, for example, right? In eye consciousness, there's no root. There's an ahedugacita. That's fine. we cannot find Hetu Pachaya. Okay, for the Aramana Pachaya, they will take color as objects. Color and eye consciousness and associated mental factors is Aramana Pachaya, cause of a relationship. As you understand, the object is also horizon and variation. Eye consciousness is horizon and variation, right? So both of them are nature. Then you can also understand like that. Okay, now Adipati Pachaya. In the case of eye consciousness, we can also say Adipati Pachaya, right? Okay, another thing is that we can say like a, we have another one. Another Pachaya. In the case of another Pachaya, with the preceding one and succeeding one. So before eye consciousness, there's a Kanjara Vajana. I don't have consciousness, another Pachaya. Right? The preceding one is already dysphere, succeeding one also dysphere. So, anicca. Some another Pachaya also same to another Pachaya, right? Then we have Sajara Pachaya in the same eye consciousness, then it will arise together with 7 universals, mental factors. So it can be Sajada. They will rise together, they will burst together, they will take the same thing as objects, they will rise depending on the same base. So it will be Sajada type, also can be Inyamanya type, it also can be Sambayuta type, right? We can Sambayuta we can do like this. Also, they also Ati Pachaya, Abhikata Pachaya, we can understand all the things in one mind moment, right? So in this way, it will be very wise. Here I just explain only one mind moment, but now you're finished, right? You can check from Hetu Pachaya to Abhikata Pachaya, how many Pachaya can apply in that mind moment. Okay? Then next one.
Okay. Yes, Yado. Is it bad karma if we donate money to bhikkhus? If we know about the Patimokkha rules, what is the best thing to do if we are in a monastery where we have to donate money to the bhikkhus? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, for about the bad karma, it depends on your mind. We cannot say good karma or bad karma by donating money, right? In the case of sutta, we can say, before talking about Vinaya, we should talk about sutta, right? For example, Kapiya Dhana, Akapiya Dhana. Because along your Dhana and along your Dhana. Both of them are Dhana. Right? It can be Dhana. But for about Parami, sure, it cannot be Dhana Parami. Because this is the improper Dhana and along your Dhana. Right? So that is why we cannot say it's a bad karma. But one more thing here. According to Sutta, we also have another one. We also should be moral. We also support other people to be moral. Then we will become good person, a better person. And similarly, okay, we also contrary to that. We ourselves is very bad. Right? But we have other people to be good. And this is also okay. But not that good also, right? So that means we ourselves is also good. We also have other people to be good. It will be the best. Okay, anyway, so what's the best thing to do if we are in the monastery where we have to donate money to the bhikkhus? Then, if I recommend openly, I don't recommend you to live in this kind of monastery. Okay, just move another monastery. Okay.
Yes, Yado. How to know if the other person receive our metta? Will devas really notice us and help us if we can radiate metta and share merits with them? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Actually, we cannot say how to know if other people can receive our metta or not, right? Okay, one more thing here. It doesn't mention in the Buddha teaching, right? We just say some simile, some example. So yeah, there are many. Sometimes they are getting better. Sometimes they also pass away, right? Some patients they pass away also. Anyway, the main thing is we have responsibility to have a kindness to all living beings. This for our calmness of the mind, this for our spiritual quality. Right? Whether they can receive or not, it is not the main things, right? Another thing is that Well, they will really notice us and help us if we really matter and share it with them. Okay, it depends on your condition also. If your metta is strong and sharp, if your virtue is also strong and powerful, sure, they will help us. They will notice you, right? It depends on your spiritual quality and your mindset. Okay, this one.
Yes, 𝐸𝐸. How to discern the cause for results of karma happening in daily life? If headache, may this discern the kaya pasada that's painful? But how about other type of karma not directly related to rupa? Maybe blame from others, etc. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Actually, blame from other also, right? Because you have ear, you have to listen, you have to hear all the things, right? If you don't have physical body, you don't have to suffer for it, right? So that means if there's a body, there is the problem. That's why Arupa Brahma, they hate bodily materialities, and they were born as Arupa Brahma, right? So anyway, so when we talk about discerning karma results in daily life, so we can just discern general. We're gonna say everything in detail like Buddha, right? When we have like a karma, jnana or Jnana jnana, sure, we can know everything in detail. Why we have this kind of karma, right? Similarly, Buddha also have like past the like sorry, no sati. Buddha also can have anagatan samyana, so Buddha can know why he has that kind of problem, why he had to suffer like this, right? In the case of Vipassana, we cannot know that much in detail. Okay.
Sorry. Dear 𝐸𝐸, I have heard that some meditation centers, they teach meditators to move their breath nimittas to visit other places like heaven. Is this the same as the divine eye psychic power? How do we know if what we are seeing is real? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Actually, in Buddha's teaching, we don't recommend to believe with the nimitta. So, okay, in the questions, I also know which center it is, right? Anyway, so that means we must not play with the nimitta. Also, in Wisdom also mentioned, don't play with the nimitta. If you play with the nimitta, just increasing the winds, it cannot make any meaningful improvements, right? That's why don't play with the nimitta. So in the case of sending the breath here and there, or sending nimitta here and there, or sending the light here and there, in this case, it's like a playing nimitta, right? We don't recommend. So for about divine eyes or divine power, it depends on how strong they are light. If the light is very, very strong, very powerful, it will be possible to see real. But if the light is not so strong and powerful, and they may not see properly, right? Okay.
Yes, 𝐸𝐸. What is playing with nimitta? Sadhu,
Oh,
sadhu, sadhu.
good question, right? Playing with nimitta means you may make your nimitta closer to your mouth, or maybe putting your nimitta on the forehead, on the cheek, putting here and there, right? This is called playing with nimitta. Similarly, you may make your nimitta near or far, or you may send the light a little bit far, near, expanding the light near and far. All the things can be considered as playing with the nimitta. Okay? Itavata cha amehi sambadam punya sambadam sabbe deva numodandu sabbe buddha numodandu sabbe satta numodandu sabba sambati siriya idam me nyatinam hotu sukhita hontu nyadayo idam me nyatinam hotu Sukhita hontu nyadayo idam me nyatinam hotu Sukhita hontu nyadayo idam me punyam asavakaya vaham hotu idam me punyam nibbanasa ajayo hotu mama punya bhagam savasadanam bhajemi te sabbe me samam Punya Bhagam Lavandu Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu.